Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a racing game that's just released for the Switch called Drift Legends. Now when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, there's not much in the way of racing games available for it, and the only one that's really worth playing is Fast RMX, which in itself isn't a traditional racer but an anti-grav racer. So when I heard this was coming out, I got quite excited. I really enjoyed Car X Drift, which is in many ways is going to be very similar to this game. And just like Car X Drift, this one has been ported over from your phone, so iOS and Android. And there is also a PC version available on Steam. One of the most appealing things about this game is its price point. It's currently on the Switch store for only £4.99, and I will be reviewing it with that in mind. You can't expect too much from a £4.99 game, but equally, is it just going to be a waste of money? The first thing to get out of the way, and something that I hinted at on the intro there, is that this game's actually classed in its description as a simulator. There is no way you should go into buying this game thinking it's going to be a simulation in any way, shape or form. Both the visuals and the gameplay have a very arcade style about them, which isn't a bad thing if that's what you're looking for, but I just don't want anyone going into it thinking it is going to be a simulator down to what they say in the description. The aim of the game is very simple, just like any drifting game really on the market at the moment. You're just on the track on your own, you're going around trying to gain points by putting the car as sideways as possible, and then with those points they'll convert into money and you can buy cars and tracks as you progress through the game. I'm sure some of you will have played this on your mobile phones, and it is very similar in many ways, but the fact that you're actually paying for the game in the first place, unlike on mobile where it's free, means that you don't have to sweat quite so hard to unlock the cars and tracks. You still have to put in some effort, and the progression system's not the best, to be honest. It starts off very easy. You'll be finding yourself within the first beginner levels unlocking cars pretty much every race or every 2 races, progressing quite quickly, but once you get into the amateur section of the game, it does become a little bit more tedious trying to get hold of the money that you need to unlock the cars. When you first boot up the game, you will be met with the menu, which looks like something from a PlayStation 1, to be perfectly honest with you, but they've obviously just ported it directly over from the phone version of the game. I do think it's a bit of a shame that they couldn't have gone to any effort to change this over for the Switch version and specifically the PC as well. I'm guessing that runs the same menu system as this one has. But then again, I guess it goes back to that price, and you know, how much work do they want to put in if they're only selling the game at $4.99, and you know, you can't blame them for that really. On the menu though, you'll find a few different sections that you can go into. You've got practice mode, which basically means you can take any of the cars that you own out on any of the tracks you've unlocked and just mess around with them. Career mode, this is where you're going to work through beginner, amateur and professional leagues to earn money and unlock the cars. And there's daily events, which as the name suggests are events that only last a certain period of time, and they're using specific vehicles and you unlock unique rewards from doing them. On top of this, there's the vehicle selection tab where you purchase new cars and you can browse through the different vehicles that are available. And there's a tuning section where you can change the colour of the car and the rim style. Unfortunately, that is all the customisation that's available in the game at the moment, but you never know, they might add something later on. But the one feature that is glaringly missing is the online multiplayer aspect. You get it on both the PC and the mobile phone version, but apparently due to server issues with the Nintendo Switch itself, the developers haven't decided to put it in. They're hoping to bring it at a later date, but at the moment you've got to expect this to just be a single player game. So let's move on to the gameplay, and as I said earlier, it does have a very arcadey feel to it. Just like Car X Drift, it is incredibly easy to get the cars sliding, in fact a bit too easy in many cases. The cars will just go as soon as you hit left, right, they'll just slide all over the place. However, just like Car X Drift as well, it is quite easy to hold the slide and you can have a bit of fun with it. There's no real need for any major throttle feathering or anything like that. It's just to quite simply get the car sideways, little inputs on the steering, and you just need to watch your speed if the corner's coming up it's a little bit too tight. So like I say, it's easy for anyone to get into. It feels a little bit weird to start with, but give yourself 5 minutes and you'll be well away. There's 30 cars in the game, and to be honest with you, I think they've covered most bases with these. What you'd expect to be in a drift game is pretty much here. You've got American muscle cars, there's lots of Japanese import cars as well, pretty much anything you could want. But sadly, the handling model for each one feels pretty much the same. Yeah, sure, some of them feel a lot faster than the others, but in terms of the actual drifting capabilities, they all just feel loose and like they could go anywhere you want them to anyway. One thing that does need to be mentioned is the control setup for the game. Now, being a mobile phone game, they don't seem to have, again, addressed this too much. They seem to have just ported it over, but the button layout is a little bit unusual. It is something that takes a bit of getting used to, but again, it's not really a major issue. Once you get used to it, you're fine. I mean, I was used to it after a few minutes and you know, it just feels normal now. But the only other issue is that they don't give you any option to remap the buttons or anything. You are stuck with exactly what they've given you in the first place. It's just another one of those little features that I feel like they could have put into the game, but they haven't. But again, who knows, they might be bringing out updates for this, and it might be something they address in the future. The next subject I want to talk about is the visuals, and they're actually not too bad. Certainly it doesn't look quite as good as the PC version of the game, but it's on a par with your mobile phone versions. The level of detail is nowhere near games like Forza or Gran Turismo, but then again, you don't expect it to be. It's a $4.99 release, it's a mobile phone port, it's playing on a Nintendo Switch, so it's actually, to be honest with you, not too bad at all. However, the good news does unfortunately stop there. I did have some frame rate issues while I was playing it, something that I've never experienced when playing it on the phone myself or the PC, so it does seem to be just a Switch issue. Whether again this is going to be patched in the future, I hope so. It only happened a couple of times and I could forgive it for that anyway. It wasn't that horrendous, but at the same time I just feel like it shouldn't be there in the first place. The only other issue I found when running the game was that when you're in the menu sometimes it can sort of feel like it's lagged out on you. You go to press a button, it does absolutely nothing for a few seconds, you wonder what's going on, and then all of a sudden it'll actually do what you've asked it to do. But I feel like I'm being very negative about this, and actually it's quite an enjoyable experience. If you can forgive Drift Legends, its quirks and its faults, underneath there is a good fun game. Overall, with everything you've got to do within the game to actually complete it, you're looking at about 10 hours, which for the $4.99 they're charging, I mean, it's a pretty good package, to be honest. Not to mention the fact that anyone who owns a Switch hasn't got much of a choice on what they play if they're into racing games, so it's just another one out there on the market, and it's not a bad entry at all. Overall, I'll give it a solid 5 out of 10. I don't think it's that great, I don't think it's that bad. It is definitely deserving of that right in the middle score. But at $4.99 for a portable drifting game, I don't think it's a bad price, to be honest with you. You could probably give it a go, see what you think of it yourself at that price, and let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It really encourages me to continue when you do, and also it means that these videos are seen by a lot more people. And I'll see you on the next one.